The rain came down in sheets, cold, metallic, and relentless. It was the kind of storm that erased the horizon, that turned the distant peaks of Titan's Ridge into little more than gray ghosts on the edge of sight. Corporal Elias then cursed under his breath as the first droplets leaked through his cracked helmet seal. His exosuit sputtered warnings across his visor. Oxygen integrity, 82%. Thermal stability, compromised. He was stranded. The dropship had gone down 2 hours ago in this desolate quadrant of Zereth Prime, a newly surveyed world on the border of the Triangulum sector. Command had ordered exploration teams to chart mineral deposits, standard recon work. But Zereth was anything but standard. Its storms came alive without warning, and its atmosphere hummed with strange frequencies that jammed communications. The crash had scattered his team. The others hadn't responded to hail since impact. And now, as the freezing rain pounded the mountainside, Elias had only one choice: find shelter before the temperature dropped further. Lightning cracked, illuminating the jagged cliffs ahead. In the brief flash, he saw it, a dark opening halfway up the rock face. A cave. He scrambled toward it, boots slipping on the slick stone. By the time he reached the mouth of the cave, his suit's systems were flickering. The interior was deep, swallowing the light of his visor lamp almost instantly. Better than dying out there, he muttered, stepping inside. But as soon as he crossed the threshold, his helmet sensors pinged. Life form detected. Elias froze. His rifle came up automatically, the servo motors whirring softly. At first, there was only silence. Then, from deeper in the cave, a faint movement, a shadow against the stone, tall and graceful. A voice echoed in the darkness, melodic yet alien. Lower your weapon, human. You'll find no death here unless you bring it. Middle. The voice belonged to a woman, though not of his species. As she stepped into the light from his visor, Elias's breath caught. Her skin shimmered faintly, like living starlight under translucent glass. Her hair, if it could be called that, flowed like pale strands of energy, glowing faintly in hues of silver blue. Her eyes were bright and intelligent, like twin moons. She wore a ragged cloak made of metallic fibers that seemed to shift with her movement. Her expression was calm but watchful. Elias slowly lowered his weapon. "Didn't expect company," he said. "You live here?" "I survive here," she replied. Her words were precise, her accent soft but deliberate, like she had learned human standard only recently. "And now you seek to do the same." Elias nodded cautiously, taking a step closer. "I didn't mean to intrude. My ship went down in the storm." She tilted her head. "You are from the Terran fleet." "Yeah," he said. "Recon division. You know us." She hesitated. "I knew of you. Once." Something about her tone carried centuries of weight. Elias unlatched his helmet, letting the humid cave air wash over his face. It was surprisingly breathable, warm, almost like the air carried some hidden source of energy. He crouched near the rock wall and started checking his equipment. She watched him in silence for a while, then spoke. "Your kind has returned sooner than I expected." "Returned?" Elias frowned. This world was supposed to be uninhabited. Her expression shifted, amusement tinged with something sorrowful. "That is what your command told you, yes? That Zereth Prime was lifeless? Your scanners cannot see what is not wished to be seen." She turned slightly, her gaze drifting toward the back of the cave. The light from his helmet caught strange carvings on the walls, symbols that glowed faintly in response to her presence. "They are wards," she explained softly. "Old ones. They keep the storms away. The lightning you saw, it is not natural. The storms are born from the planet's heart, and it hungers." Elias blinked, unsure if she was being poetic or literal. "You're saying the planet itself is alive," she finished. "And angry." He let that sink in. His training told him to be skeptical, but his instincts said she was telling the truth. The way the storm had moved, the unnatural frequencies, the feeling of being watched, it all fit. He studied her again. "You said you survive here. Are there others like you?" Her gaze softened. "There were. Once. I am the last." Hours passed. The storm raged outside, thunder rolling like the voice of gods. Inside the cave, Elias and the alien woman shared the faint warmth from the bioluminescent crystals embedded in the walls. Her name, she told him, was Salara, last daughter of the Zarathi, an ancient race that had once ruled this world before the storms came. "They were punishment," she said quietly, her hands tracing a faint mark on the stone. "We tore too deeply into the planet's heart, drawing energy to power our cities. The world turned against us. It remembered what we took." Elias listened, enraptured. He told her about Earth, about humanity's endless need to explore, to reach farther than logic allowed. She seemed both fascinated and saddened. "You are like us," Salara murmured. "Curious, brave, and blind to the cost of your reaching." He smiled faintly. "Yeah, that sounds about right." They talked for hours about the stars, about loneliness, about what it meant to lose everything. At some point, she asked to see his hand. "You carry the mark of survival," she said, studying a small burn scar on his wrist. "Plasma cutter accident," he explained. "Back when I was an engineer." "Pain," she whispered, "is memory written in flesh. Among my kind, such marks are sacred." Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. A flicker of warmth in the cold dark. The turning point. By morning, the storm had passed. Elias stepped to the cave's mouth, watching the fog roll through the valley below. His visor showed no sign of life, no distress beacons, no squad signals. He was alone. He turned back to Salara. "I have to find my team. Maybe they made it to the ridge base." She looked uneasy. "The ridge is dangerous now. The storms left behind something else." "What do you mean?" Her answer came in the form of a deep rumble that shook the cave. Elias spun, rifle raised. From beyond the valley came a sound that wasn't thunder, a rhythmic pounding, like footsteps of something enormous. Salara's expression hardened. "The planet remembers your kind. It sends its guardians." Through the mist, he saw it. A creature of stone and lightning, walking on limbs made of molten glass and shadow. It was easily 20 meters tall, its eyes burning with plasma. Elias's blood went cold. "You've got to be kidding me." Salara turned to him. "You must leave. If it senses your presence, it will not stop." "And what about you?" She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "This is my world. I have nowhere else to go." That answer didn't sit right with him. Not after the night they'd shared. Not after hearing her laugh, seeing the way her eyes softened when she spoke of her lost people. "No," he said firmly. "We go together." Middle to end transition. They moved quickly through the narrow caves that tunneled beneath the mountain. Salara guided him through twisting paths lined with strange glowing flora. "The Zarathi built these tunnels to escape the surface storms," she explained. "They lead to the heart chamber, the place where the planet's pulse begins. Perhaps there, we can end this." Elias didn't understand exactly what she meant, but he followed her anyway. As they went deeper, the walls began to hum, a low, rhythmic vibration that resonated in his bones. The air shimmered faintly, charged with unseen energy. Finally, they reached a vast chamber filled with spiraling columns of crystal. At its center floated a massive core of light, pulsing slowly, like a beating heart. The planet's consciousness, Salara said. The Zarathi called it the womb eternal. It is what gives life to all things here, and what now seeks to end it. Elias stepped forward cautiously. So, what do we do? She turned to him, eyes glowing brighter now. We must calm it. It feels only fear.
Rage.
She reached out, touching his chest. You carry the spark of something it once loved. He blinked. I what? Your kind's essence, she said softly. Humanity's courage, its defiance, its heart. The womb remembers that. Long ago, our ancestors were born of the same seed worlds as yours. We are kin, though time and evolution separated us. The revelation struck him speechless. She smiled faintly. It may listen to you, but it will test you first. Climax. The ground split open with a roar. The guardian creature from the valley burst through the cavern wall, lightning crackling along its body. The core pulsed violently in response, its glow shifting to crimson. Elias raised his rifle, but Salara grabbed his arm. No. If you fight, it will see only war. So what then? He shouted over the noise. Show it truth. Show it what you are. He didn't understand, but something deep inside did. He stepped forward, lowering his weapon, standing bare before the storm. The creature halted, lightning surging around him. Elias placed his hand on his chest, the same scar she'd touched earlier, and spoke. My name is Elias Ben. I came here not to take, not to destroy. I came because I wanted to understand. The creature's rumbling slowed. The red glow began to fade to gold. Salara moved beside him, placing her hand over his. Together, she whispered. Light enveloped them both, blinding, warm, and endless. He felt something vast and ancient brush against his mind, a consciousness older than civilization itself. Images flashed, Zarathi cities, their rise and fall, their pride and grief. And then earth, oceans, skies, laughter. Humanity's resilience. The storm outside faded. The guardian dissolved into dust. When the light dimmed, the cave was silent once more. Ending. Elias awoke sometime later, lying beside the now-still core. Salara knelt beside him, her hand resting gently on his arm. It is done, she said softly. The womb sleeps. The storms will end. He exhaled, exhaustion flooding his body. So, what happens now? She looked away, sadness flickering across her features. Now the planet will heal. But she hesitated. I am bound to it. I cannot leave. He sat up. There has to be a way. She smiled faintly. You already gave me what I needed, a reminder of what we once were. That is enough. He didn't like that answer. But before he could speak, she leaned forward, pressing her forehead to his, a gesture of deep affection in Zarathi culture. Go, she whispered. Live. Tell them the truth of this world. The crystals around them pulsed one last time, bathing her in silver light. When Elias blinked, she was gone. Only a faint shimmer of starlight left where she had been. Epilogue. Weeks later, the rescue team found him near the ridge, alive, but changed. The storms had ceased. Zereth Prime skies were clear for the first time in recorded memory. In his report, he wrote of the crash, the cave, and a woman made of starlight. Most of the officers dismissed it as delusion, a survival hallucination. But sometimes at night, Elias would feel warmth on his wrist where the scar once was, and faintly, just faintly, he could hear her voice in the wind. We're not so different, you and I, human. The stars remember us both.